So funny thing is, I used to believe hustling and staying on the grind was how you became successful. That wasn't until a mentor of mine showed me how to report a $50,000 primary trade line to someone's credit report. He later got that person funded over $500,000. Now I want to show you guys how a kid from the east side of Long Beach who used to sell CDs on the streets of Las Vegas now manages over a $10 million portfolio. How I raised capital. I want to show you guys what I found out is the true power of credit. See you on the other side. So growing up in Long Beach in the 90s was nothing but gang culture, street activity, robberies, home invasions, and a bunch of other stuff that, guess what? Things that my friends were involved in, right? Things that I was involved in. After so long, I think when I got to my late teens, I hustled my music because Snoop was the inspiration from Long Beach. He was the biggest thing that we knew. And his baby brother, Bing, was my best friend. So I got a chance to see that up close and personal. And that was the inspiration. So music became the hustle until it didn't. And then it became about phones, devices. And then for me, even became about taxes. So with the money coming fast, money goes fast, yeah, it takes you down a hell of a path. By 2010, there was an investigation that started on me with the feds regarding a tax fraud case that I later ended up going to federal prison for. To say the least, credit was not something that was ever thought about. In fact, the mentality that my parents, my grandparents, uncles, aunts, cousins, and anybody else that even remotely had some type of credit was never use it. You can't afford it if you can't pay for it. That was always the mentality. It was never about you borrowing money to be able to make an opportunity for yourself. The mentality was always, if you can't buy it with cash, then you shouldn't have it. So that mentality stuck, and that's also part of the reason the mentality carried over to wanting to have nice things. So you go hustle in order to accomplish getting those nice things, right? You go hustle because you want to be able to buy the $100,000 car cash off the lot because we were never taught anything about credit. We just weren't taught the function of it or the power of it, the idea and the aspects of leverage. So my mind wasn't even on that radar at that time in my life. My turning point happened with federal prison. When I went in 2015, actually 2013 or so, my mindset started to shift because the hustles started to dry up and you just get exhausted. You get to a certain point where your mind is just so lost and you're so warped inside of your world that the idea of what you're doing is just disturbing you. Your head is always on a swivel. You're always frustrated about how things are going. So my mentality shifted at about 2013. By 2015, I got indicted on the tax fraud case for $12 million. They estimated we were doing about $1 million a month in tax fraud. I was the number one on the case. Unfortunately, I was the mastermind. But that was also one of the things that helped me realize if I could spend this much time, this much effort masterminding something like this, then what if I could mastermind something else? I realized most of the reason that we were doing what we were doing is because we wanted to accomplish mostly our music. And it was always getting dumped back into music, this entertainment lifestyle. Music then translated into business, and it became about us buying into businesses and buying into different things that we can put our money into. Still, no clue about the idea of credit being the route, right? Until the feds hit. At that point, as soon as the feds hit, then you get introduced to all types of things. So my world got turned upside down in order for it to be right side back up, right? And that was because I got introduced to the world of credit and the power of it a little before feds, but I really learned it the most there. I learned how leverage really works. I learned how finance and funding, banking, you guys ever get up against the federal government in a federal case? They do not play nice. So it forces you to learn your laws and learn your rights and learn what is compliant or not. And as a result, I found myself learning a lot about the power of credit. Of course, excited to utilize it. I came home and on 9/11 of 2019, of all days, right? I run straight into the pandemic. But now I'm a licensed paralegal. Now I start working on legal processes to work on repairing people's credit. And all the while, I'm also seeing how people are getting funding. By about mid-2020, during the pandemic, I met a mentor. And the mentor had really dropped a lot of jewels on me and exposed me to a world of things that I didn't even realize was going on even in that world. And it was about controlling credit. It was about controlling your ability to create money. So I went from the mentality of hustling for money every day to now having the mentality of creating money. See, I read in law that the Federal Reserve Act about the creation of money further went into books like Modern Money Mechanics and teaching me that the creation of money happens on an account ledger. You give them a promissory note, they give you back cash in exchange. It's just a very simple system. So I never really got deep into the idea until I start realizing how well it affects us when it's being reported. So then I got into data furnishing. In the data furnishing game, I went from repairing credit, getting funding for people, to then actually controlling people's entire credit reports. That's where the fascinating side of everything came. As of to date, I'm about 6 years out from federal prison. I've become an advisor for my entire family. I have become the head of our family office. And our family office now has about $10 million in total assets involved. Actually, give or take a few bucks. But between real estate, cash assets, 401ks, and everything else, I am now the head of my family office. After learning law, I got into contracts and learning and understanding how to create the actual financial instruments, the debt obligations, how to create the proper contract structures for trust and asset protection. And from there, it just all made sense. So I invite you guys, take this journey and this walk with me. I invite you guys to join our class, our mentorship. Since then, I have now started up what's called Mogul Maker Academy. For all of those would-be people that wanted to be a hip-hop mogul like me, that wanted to run it up and be a major success, you don't have to go rob and steal. You don't have to kill. You don't have to hustle anymore for your money. Now I'm going to show you how you can actually create the money from scratch. Listen, hope you guys like and subscribe and share this video with somebody. Anybody that needs to hear the message, you guys on the other side.